a day. Saints, Packers.
Jenna, people forgot that the
Jameis,
Basketball Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony was this weekend because obviously it was overshadowed by the NFL. But Paul Pierce, the best player in this class that was inducted, look, in his post-playing career, he is always saying something memorable or controversial. Here he was talking about his former coach, Doc Rivers.
This one I knew you was a player's coach. You know, I remember coming in to shoot around one time, hungover, and we had a game that morning, and we was running a play. And, you know, the play I was supposed to go through, cut through. And so we run the play, and I go to one knee. And he looked at me, like, Paul, what you doing? He's like, Paul, come here. I'm like, oh, man. You know, I'm kind of covering my breath. I know it's banging. So I kind of stopped short. He was like, Paul, go home and be ready for tonight. Get some rest. And I was like, thanks, coach. And I ran out of there. I'm telling you, I had 30 that night. We won. I was like, players coach.
Nick, I drew up this clip just for you. You can see the love and respect there between Doc and Paul Pierce. But their relationship got off to a rocky start. They didn't like each other at first. Maybe there's hope for Doc and Ben Simmons. We know there's turmoil there right now. They're not going to trade him. He's not going to show up for camp. So maybe they can work things out, Nick. And there's hope for your Sixers.
I thought you were going to say maybe there's hope for me and Paul Pierce, because our relationship's always had a rocky start. But I guess not. We're going Ben Simmons instead, Jenna.
That too, maybe.
A couple of pretty interesting things I saw that I had to share with you, pregame things this weekend. First, tuned into Panthers-Jets to see Sam Darnold. I didn't see Sam. I saw Simba. I'm scrolling around. For someone who has issues with Photoshop like I do, you put something like this on. This isn't comforting at all. This was... That was terrifying to me. That was not like, oh, how cool was that, the way Nick took it. I literally thought we had a bigger issue than just a game at hand. Later found out it's animation, and it should be written on the screen, just animation. I'm sorry, maybe it's for me. I was terrified. Also terrified by this. Baby Phil's Mafia up in Buffalo.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? No, what are you doing? Listen, advice to the table industry. Maybe that too should be animated. I don't know. But I wouldn't even say bad parenting. The whole thing. Adults and kids, enough with the tables. It's too much. It's too much. Also, it should just be written animation, and then should be animation is what should be written. The whole thing was stressful for me.
It's not bad parenting because they put him through the table. It's bad parenting because you made that kid a Bills fan, just to be clear.
A Bills fan.
Yeah.
They baptized him with an L, Nick. Baptized with an L.
Chandler Jones had 5 sacks yesterday. Lit up Taylor Lewan. Here's what Taylor said after the game. He said, you know what, Chandler? You actually probably helped me out a little bit. He said, got my fanny kicked today. No way around that. I let the team and the fans down. Thank you, Chandler Jones, for exposing me. It will only force me to get better. So here's my my advice for you, Taylor. After anybody has a hard day at work, you can go have a few beers. You can go have a glass of wine. You can go have a bourbon. But for you, my friend, remember when you went to that Nashville game and you decided to drink some beers off of a catfish? So go down to your local fishmonger, said, hey, you know what? Chandler Jones lit me up. And the fishmonger will say, you know what you need? This delicious catfish and these Miller Lights. So there you go. Have fun. Get ready for next week.
Literally.
Local fishmonger.
We got Mike Vick back with us now. We're talking some Packers and Saints. So the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, defending MVP, getting outplayed in every which way by a guy who actually could be MVP after what we saw yesterday, Jameis Winston. Ridiculously effective. Tossed 5 touchdowns, only 148 yards passing. How about that? Oh, and the best part, 0 turnovers. Biscuit, no risk it for Jameis. And that Saints defense picking off Rodgers twice. Head coach Matt LaFleur said his team was, quote, absolutely embarrassed yesterday. Here's how Aaron Rodgers described it.
It's just one game. You know, we played bad. I played bad. Offensively, we didn't execute very well. One game. We got 16 to go. We're coming off a couple NFC championship games. And obviously feeling good about the unit that we have on offense. That's what we talk about a lot. So this is a good good kick in the you-know-where. Hopefully get us going in the right direction, going back home and playing division opponent next week.
He meant butt. It was in the butt. Just how bad was it for Aaron Rodgers? He had the worst passer rating ever in a season opener by a reigning MVP. How about that? Hey, Mike Vick, Rodgers says it's just one game. What did you make of his day yesterday?
It was a rough day. It just seemed like Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers was just trying to get out of that heat. It was 90 degrees out there in Jacksonville, and they probably practiced all year in a modest 75, so I know that played a factor. You know, the whole entire team looked discombobulated on offense, the offensive lineman looking around, looking confused on defense. It was guys just out of position. Aaron Rodgers throwing interceptions that was unlikely of him, and he just didn't look like himself. You know, he looked bothered, and they kind of looked like they was exhausted. But they play the Detroit Lions next week. They'll bounce back. Aaron has looked at the schedule, and I know he knows what's up and coming. But yesterday was a total disaster for the Green Bay Packers, and whatever didn't go right needs to be adjusted quickly.
And yeah, they'll get back on track against the Lions on national television, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll fix all that ailed them in this game. And Broussard, two things jump out to me. One is, if people weren't watching, the score makes it seem like it was blowout from start to finish. That's kind of true. It was 17-0 right before the half, and then the Packers got a field goal. And then they had the ball to start the second half, drove down the field. It's about to be 17-10, and then Rodgers throws a terrible interception. Just a brutal, unerrant. This is a terrible interception on second down when you're about to potentially make it a one-score game. And then after that, they let go of the rope. And that is, to me, the only trend here. Since Matt LaFleur has been the head coach of the Packers, they've only lost 7 regular season games. But 3 of those games have come against ostensibly really good teams where they've just let go of the rope and gotten blown out. The first year it was San Francisco, who annihilated them. Last year it was Tampa, who annihilated them. And then yesterday it was the Saints, obviously. So after this offseason of tumult and turmoil that extended all the way to right before kickoff with the Aaron Andrews interview, for Rodgers to come out and have the worst game of his career and then to just kind of be like, all right, we're going to go get him next week, it doesn't change my opinion of the Packers for the season. That would be too much of an overreaction. But it was a miserable performance in all facets and one of the worst Aaron Rodgers games I've ever seen.
Well, the interception you mentioned in the red zone, I mean, that was completely uncharacteristic of Aaron Rodgers, who just simply doesn't make mistakes like that. He doesn't make those types of mental errors typically. But here's the thing, too, Nick. Aaron Rodgers won the offseason, right? Everybody was on his side. Oh, he's right. He's a great player there. He's delivered him a Super Bowl. He's one of the best to ever do it. He should have say, in the front office personnel decisions. Oh, they offered him contract extensions. Will this be his last year? Like, everybody loved, he won the offseason. He got to say what he wanted to say when he arrived at training camp. Everybody loved his 30-minute soliloquy he went on in the press conference and all of that. And you can't follow that up with this type of performance, because now people are looking at you like, hold on. After an offseason in which you demand a trade, you don't show up for off-season, the program, you try out for the host of Jeopardy, you contemplate retirement, you sit down with Aaron Andrews and say, I've got nothing left to prove. Now we're wondering, and I'm with you, I'm not writing him off or the Packers off for the rest of the season, but this is the type of performance that makes you wonder, is your head in this? Are you focused? Did you do too much thinking about other stuff in the offseason and not get yourself ready to play? I like after the game, Mike, that he owned it. All right, he accepted responsibility, said he played bad. He said he made mistakes on those 2 interceptions. So I like that. And he said we needed this kick in the ass. So hopefully that's what they get, and they'll be better off starting next week.
Yeah, Chris, I'm with you. I was thinking what you just said in terms of Aaron Rodgers and his head being fully into, what the Green Bay Packers are trying to accomplish this season. And then I instantly thought, you know, there is a future for Aaron Rodgers, so there's no way that he can go out there and not care. But, you know, sometimes that doubt starts to creep in, and as you play the game, you feel unappreciated. And hopefully Aaron can kick that, because that could be a hindrance for him throughout the season. Mentally, he has to be stronger than he's ever been in order to finish this season out with a bang.
Hey, you know who played better than Aaron Rodgers yesterday? Kyler Murray. Kicked off year 3 with a bang. Was he the best player on the field? We'll ask these guys next. First things first.
Attention foodies. With this fusion of